Hello and welcome to PFF Now. We are joined by Philadelphia Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. I see the hoodie. Big James Harden guy. Excited for the home debut tonight?
I am more, I didn't grow up in a town where, we had a basketball team. So wherever I kind of am, that's who I'm rooting for. So kind of become a Sixers fan moving here last year. And I was a Pacers fan when I was here in Indianapolis. And so excited about the team right now. Yeah,
absolutely.
There's definitely a lot of buzz in Philadelphia right now. Speaking of basketball, I'm sure you heard about what happened this morning. Sam Howell mentions to everybody that they're doing some basketball drills during interviews. I got to ask you about
we weren't doing like dribbling drills.
I know, like shooting some hoops.
So we every guy that walks in there, we have them shoot 5 shots. And so, hey, listen, we're trying to find every different avenue to see what makes this player go, right? And so we're always looking to see what type of competitiveness the guy has, what kind of toughness he has, if he loves football, does he have high football IQ, and does he have high character, right? And so if we can get this much out of him shooting and see how serious he takes it or like gets pissed or like if we get this much, it was worth it, right? And it was fun. It was fun to do. And so the other thing it does is it loosens them up a little bit. They're going through a lot of so, I mean, I'd rather him start with a shot than be like, hey, slap the table. Be like, tell me about when you were in 7th grade, you did this, right? And so that's kind of the thought process with it. I go back to my time in Indianapolis. We, myself and Gardner Minshew, we shot baskets together. And you guys got time for a quick story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we shot baskets together. And I've told this story before, but we shot baskets together, and we just so happened, obviously, to work with each other last year. But when we shot baskets there, I was winning. I'm a little bit better shooter than him. He would tell you that. But I was winning the game, and he's in a dress shirt, a tie, and dress pants and dress shoes. He goes, Coach, you mind if I pop this shirt real quick? I don't think I can beat you if I have this dress shirt. I said, whatever. So on Garner's his interview with the Indianapolis Colts, he was shirtless, shooting baskets in our indoor. And so I saw that competitiveness of him. And it's fun because it gives you a little something. It's a little different, and you're just able to talk to the guy and move on from there. So that's why. That's the why behind
Gardner
it.
Minshew out there popping his top in the interview. That is good stuff. How much time have you spent with the quarterbacks this week, and what's your just overall impression of this class in general? Because it seems like it's kind of mixed. If you ask 10 people, they'll give you 10 different lists of these quarterbacks.
Obviously, I'm still going through the process of all these guys, whether it's quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, defensive guys. Like I'm going through the process of all these guys. And so it's always good when you watch a guy on tape to be able to put a face, to who you've been watching, to stand next to them and see their height or their thickness or whatever it is, right? And be able to go through that process. And so, this is a very talented quarterback draft class. I think there's a lot of guys that have won a lot of football games, that have played a lot of football, and it's exciting. Just when you get any position that you get excited about the new talent that's going to come into the league and make the league even better.
For sure.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned how you guys have a little bit of fun before you get started, but these interviews are only 15 minutes. How much could you actually get out of that? Because there are some coaches who are not even coming here, and they're like, it's all agent driven. We tell them what to do. How much are you able to get out of them in 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's actually 20 now.
Oh,
we got an extra 5.
There we go.
Again, it's a piece of the puzzle, and so we also have private workouts that we're going to be doing in pro days, and we're going to be doing Zoom interviews, and we're going to be doing 30 visits, and we have informals down there. So it's a piece of the puzzle. And so, and I've always been taught in this league that everything matters. Every detail matters. The margin of error in this league, the parity in this league is so tight that you got to do everything you can do in that 20. Okay, you got 20 minutes. What can you really get done? You better do everything you can do to get the answers that you need to get to. And you're gonna have more time. Right. You're gonna have more time. This is the first date, right? This is the first date. We got a second and a third date, and if we draft you, we're engaged, right, or whatever it is. And so this is just the very beginning of it. And so it's putting everything you can do to get that foot. Really, we're trying to find out. Again, I mentioned a lot of different things, but we're trying to find out the football IQ. We're trying to find out if we can the competitiveness a little bit. We're trying to try to find out a little bit of how much they love football. and drop their guard to do some of those things.
Speaking of a guy that you're married to right now, Jalen Hurts. Now everyone's kind of looking for those quarterbacks who can do it all, who can run, who can pass, everything. What's the potential still of Jalen Hurts in the league right now? How much more potential does he have to grow?
Yeah, I was always taught this by I learned this from Frank Reich. He would just always talk about like when the guys have the intangibles and then the things I just mentioned, right? The loving of football, the competitiveness, the high football IQ, the high character, the toughness. When they have those things, right? And they're different. People think of those things a little bit different. When they have those things, those guys can reach their ceiling, right? And Jalen has all those things. And so we know what he has in his body. He's going to be able to get it out of himself because he loves the game so much. He's so tough, like all those things we just mentioned. Right. And that's why you've seen him continue to grow in his career. It's not like you've seen 1 year to the next year, you're like, oh, that's the same player. He's continuing to get better. He just continues to get better. And so, I think what people talk about a lot with Jalen, and one thing that you definitely see with Jalen is that his arm strength is really good, right? He's able to spin it in the first game against Atlanta in a dome, in the sunshine when the dome's open, and even in the last game of the year in Philadelphia in inclement weather. And then he can create, and as you saw him this year, like at the beginning of the year, he was extending plays and running, and then it turned into extending plays and running. Oh, then it turned extending plays and throwing it down the field and making even bigger explosive plays. And then his decision making continues to get better. His accuracy continues to get better. Again, it's just the product of who the person is, and that he can reach that ceiling. So we're always looking to improve in all those areas. And so and I have no doubt that Jalen will continue to improve because of who he is as a player. And then the intangibles, as far as how he leads, is second to none. I've been around a lot of good quarterbacks that know how to lead. Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, great leader. Andrew Luck, great leader. And Jalen Hurts is right on par with all those guys. He really knows how to lead. He grew up in a coaching household. His dad was a coach, and he knows how to lead. He knows how to win. He's a winner.
We're here at the Combine. You guys have 3 number ones here this year, and we know that Howie is like in every deal possible. That's the one thing everyone says. Is it difficult at least not to think about what could be behind door number 2 when it comes to quarterback, or are you like, we're committed to building around this guy 100%?
Again, you're yeah. I mean, we know that this is a type of player that you can win with, and so you just want to continue to make the team as strong as possible around him, because I don't. There's a secret in coaching. Like, and here's the secret. You ready? Good players make you a better coach. Like I'm not naive to think like good players make you a better coach. And so if that's true for a coach, it's also true for a quarterback, right? The better your team is around you, the better quarterback you're going to be. So Jalen was able to succeed his first entire year in front of him because Jalen is who he is as a player, but he had a very strong offensive line blocking for him and leading the way, and a very strong run game to be able to, to accelerate, his ability. And I think that, I'm watching a little bit of the Tom Brady thing. What is it, Man in the Arena?
Yeah.
And you forget how good those defenses were when he first started off.
Yeah.
You had Mike Vrabel. I just saw him. I said hi to him because he was on the Chiefs teams when I coached. I'm like, man, I wouldn't want to go against him, right? And you had all those, you had Brewski, and you had
Seymour and Law,
and Harrison, like they're everywhere. And so it's the same thing. And so you just want to build the team up as much as you possibly can, to make not only Jalen better, but the other people on your team better as well.
You guys had some good timing when you acquired Gardner Minshew. There wasn't quite as much of a quarterback shortage in the league. Now there is. I know that you guys are kind of always open to any sort of deals or trades or anything, but if a team did call about Gardner Minshew, would there at least be a conversation there for a potential deal?
Again, you're always looking for ways to make your team better, no matter whether it's free agency, whether it's trade, whether it's draft, whatever it is, you're always trying to make your team better, But obviously we saw this year the value of Gardner, right? And so Jalen was forced to miss the Jets game, and Gardner came in and played outstanding football. And that's what you want. You want your backup quarterback to be able to come in and win games when you need to win games. We don't win that game, we don't make the playoffs, right? I mean, and that's probably at the end of the day, that's probably the case. Sure. And so, I value what Gardner is as a football player. He's a really good football player. He could be starting at a lot of different teams around the NFL, but I'm sure glad that he's on our team, and because I think that's important. I was able, again, I've mentioned Coach Reich already in this interview, but like I was around the best backup quarterback ever to play this game, right? Yeah. And so like if I'm around Frank for my 2 years in San Diego, 3 years here for 5 years, like if I didn't learn something about the backup
didn't pick
quarterback,
that up,
like, and then, I mean, not to mention, like, we were on a team together in Indianapolis. Like, we were like, all right, yeah, let's go, Andrew Luck, here we go, year 2. I retire. Oh, my God.
Okay.
You better have a good backup quarterback. And Jacoby played really good that year, and he got dinged. I think we were 5-2 at one point. He got dinged in the middle of the year, and it didn't end the way we wanted it to end. But, like, the importance of the backup quarterback is very, very important, and I'm sure glad that Gardner Minshew is ours.
Now, you mentioned the offensive line before, and the leader there in Philadelphia is Jason Kelce. Could you talk about just coaching him and what he's meant to that team? And then just, is there retirement talk? Has that been brought up yet this offseason or not?
I'll compare Jason Kelce. This is going to sound weird, but I'll compare him to Phillip Rivers. All right, because they're just so smart football player. When I left Phillip Rivers, I'm like, all right, I'm never going to coach a guy that smart again. He's in his year 17. He knows what blitz they brought. Hey, Phillip, do you want to look at the picture on the sideline after us? No, they brought this blitz. They played this coverage behind it. And he ran the wrong route, and the guy in the first row had relish on his hot. He saw everything. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, I'll never see that again. And it's the same type of thing. Like I leave Kansas City, and we had Jamal Charles as our running back, and we were the #1 rush team in the NFL my last year there. And I'm like, I'm never gonna have another back like that. And then Jonathan Taylor last year, right? And so like, and that's what I thought. And then I get to Philadelphia, and Jason Kelce is the same, just the same thinking power as Phillip Rivers. Like it was incredible, and he's doing that at the center position with his hand in the ground, like. Unbelievable. And what he means to this football team, his toughness. It's not just that he sees everything. He's tough. He's physical. He plays through it all. He's highly talented, great leader. I think I was pretty unique of the head coaches last year, first-year head coaches. No disrespect to any of their players or anything like that. A lot of good leaders, a lot of good players. But in my mind, I stepped into a great situation because we had a strong offense and defensive line, which is pretty rare. Usually when there's a turnover, it's because O-line, D-line. So credit to Howie and his staff. And then I had an unbelievable alpha dog leader to lead the way in Jason Kelce.
You guys went 9-8 last season. I think a lot of people were definitely very positive about that. But now you're going into a pretty good situation this offseason. Not a ton of free agents, decent amount of cap space. What's the optimism in the building that you guys can really improve upon last season?
I think that's just our mindset of, hey, we got to get a little bit better each day, and that's everybody, coaches, players, everybody that works in that building. How do we get a little bit better each day to put ourselves in a position to exceed what we did this year, right? That's always the goal. Like, how do we get into the playoffs? How do we go a little bit further? How do we end up winning it all? That's what everyone's goal is. Everybody that's here this weekend, that's their goal. And so, obviously. I think another unique situation that I was blessed to be a part of my first year in the NFL is that I had a very experienced GM leading the way, and that's huge. Like a lot of first-year head coaches, it's like, hey, me and you were in this together year one, figure it all out.
Exactly.
And I didn't have to go through that, and then just the organization in itself, just the support staff and all the people that we have in this organization, like it made my job really easy. So I think that's the expectation of the building. We know we have some resources to be able to do that, in free agency and the draft. And we're going to continue to work like crazy as coaches to get the guys that are in the building to maximize their potential. And that's the goal.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nick. This was great stuff. And good luck this offseason and in 2022.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.